The content, views, and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the City of Bremerton, BCAT, their officials, or their employees. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Afternoons with Ash Black. Every town has its traditions, the familiar, the expected. But every so often something new emerges, something entirely unexpected, something altogether unforgettable. In the heart of Bremerton, that something is a figure that has stepped out of a legend and into reality, transforming what was once an old world myth into a thrilling, living, local tradition. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest carries the chains of folklore and the spirit of an old age tale. And here in our city, he has built something more, a movement, a celebration, and coming soon, an entire national convention. For years, my next guest, otherwise known as the Bremerton Krampus, has led the charge in bringing the alpine legend of Krampus to the Pacific Northwest. From Krampusnacht Bremerton to the upcoming Krampus America Festival, he has created something that extends beyond the holiday season, an event that intends to bind history, community, and a little playful mischief into something that we can all celebrate as being uniquely ours. But why does the figure from the past still resonate today? Was it about Krampus that captures our imagination? That makes us return year after year to celebrate both the light and the dark of the season. Today we will venture beyond the mask, beyond the festival, and into the mind of the man who made it all happen. This afternoon we will be having more than just a conversation. We are taking a glimpse into the legacy of a living tradition. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as we welcome the man behind Bremerton's Krampus, the architect of the growing legend, Mr. Eric Morley.
That was a great introduction. You can introduce me anytime.
Yeah, that was quite the mouthful. You are the man behind the darkness, the dark legend of Krampus Bremerton. I'm so happy to have you here. It's very exciting to finally have you in the studio and, let my guests and the people across the country, know who's put such a wonderful thing together for our community. There's a difference between admiring folklore and actually bringing it to life in a community, though. And I was curious, what was it that made you decide to put this all together? What made it you think, this is happening, I'm going to make this happen?
I'll be perfectly honest, it was an accident. So Sam Enlow with Fingers Duke in 2019, a year in advance, asked me if I would dress as Krampus for a Krampus-themed art show for First Friday Art Walk in 2020. And so I bought a costume in preparation for it, mostly off of Amazon. It was super cheap, and it was terrible. And then the pandemic hit, the art walks got canceled. I still had this costume. So I bought some druid costumes that my friends could wear face masks in, and we just walked around downtown Bremerton. Not many people saw it, which was fine because I just wanted to be out in costume. And then a few photos got posted on Facebook, and then it just got popular, and I kept doing it, and then it just caught on for some reason. And I didn't recognize how popular it would become or appreciate it. But as soon as it started getting a little bit of attention, I started to think that maybe there was something here and something to explore, but I also thought it would take 20 years to achieve what has already happened.
Krampus is often seen as, probably more like a darker counterpart to St. Nicholas during Christmas time. Tell me how you personally interpret Krampus. Is it a figure of fear? Is it the thing that nightmares are made out of? Or is it something more fun entirely?
Well, it's 100% about fear. It is the thing that nightmares are made out of. I mean, you look at these masks, they're supposed to be scary. But if you look at history, right, and theology, and any icon or any talisman or character that's been used to influence human behavior, Krampus is just another one of those. And while he has become a companion to St. Nicholas over time, that's not where the folklore started. He was an independent creature of his own that deterred children from naughty behavior. And it was used as a tool of parents to say, be nice or the Krampus is going to come and get you. So it's very much about fear, but for me, it's more than that. I think that Krampus is the outer representation, a physical manifestation of our inner selves, right? So as we're deterring children from naughty behavior, I think as adults, it's also causes us to pause and reflect on the ugly, scary, terrible things within ourselves, and it's an inspiration for us to overcome those. Because if you are kind to one another, if you're doing good things to one another, or with one another, contributing to your community and being a good person, whatever that definition is, then you don't need to be afraid of Krampus. And so that's what I kind of love about the character, is he's absolutely to be feared, but you only have to fear him if you're naughty.
You know, I think it's really interesting that you bring that up, because you still hear different varied opinions on what Krampus means or reflects within our community. You know, I find even on Facebook today, folks seeing the Krampus prints around downtown and wondering what exactly those red footsteps mean. What would you say to those that make comparisons to things like, you know, devil worship and stuff when speaking of Krampus? And in terms of naughty versus nice, what has been the reaction of the Bremerton public that you've seen over the course of the years while you've been donning the costume?
Bremerton has actually been really good. But that's partially because of the community we live in is very open-minded and a really awesome community, and just has like this perfect niche and recipe for Krampus to succeed. It's also been by design. I don't appear in places where Krampus is not expected. So I don't like to organize my conventions and festivals where people are coming to see Santa Claus. And then, surprise, there's Krampus. So it really, people are opting into to seeing Krampus when they come and see me or see my festivals. So that kind of helps calm down some of the fears that people have. I appreciate to the first part of your question, people's association to the devil or Satan or devil worship or whatever you may be, because this is fairly new in the United States. It's a centuries-old tradition in the Bavarian parts of Europe. And when people see something new, they're going to look at it through a lens that's familiar to them. And so whatever that lens is that's familiar to them, whether that's Christianity or whatever their background or their faith may be, they're going to make that mental association and say, oh, there's a horned creature, that's the devil. And that's not true. They don't understand where it came from, what the folklore is behind the character, behind the mythology of it. So he's not at all Satan. It's not devil worship. It is Krampus. It is an Austrian tradition that has happened for centuries to influence human behavior. So I have patience for it when I see the comments. When I first started doing this, I was really offended and wanted people to understand, and then I gained an appreciation that like folks will come around, and if they don't want to, they're not going to, and they're just not going to show up to my festival, which is fine.
But they have shown up, and you know, I think that's very important to note, because as this has grown over the years, you have now been able to make it into not only something that's uniquely ours, but something now that you're spreading worldwide. Tell me a little bit about our upcoming Krampus America Festival and what it means for you to be putting this together.
So early on, when I do things, I'm always a little bit extra in everything that I do. And so early on, I had the ambition that I wanted Bremerton to be the national home of Krampus. And I said this publicly. I didn't hide it at all. And so last year when we had, let's see, 2023, I had 4,000 people come to the festival. I wanted to get 6,000 in 2024, which I exceeded. And I decided that I wanted to push that a little bit further. And so I launched Krampus America and trademarked that name and created a website and started to plan a convention because nobody was organizing anything on a national level. You have pop-up groups of Krampus all over this country, and they look different, they have different flavors, which is great. They should be unique. Any town in Austria has their own unique flavor of their Krampus celebration. But I thought that there was an opportunity for people to network, learn from one another, talk about the challenges that they have. Some of the folks in more conservative parts of the country get a lot of pushback from politicians, from cities, from their communities. And so, some people have overcome those challenges. And so this is a great opportunity for people to come together and talk about how they overcame those. And so I planned a convention off season, not in December, because all of those people are in costume in December. So I'm bringing them to Bremerton May 9th and 10th this year for the first ever national convention for Krampus. And it's Comic-Con style-ish. Its first year, it's a lot more gritty. It's a startup, and we're seeing how this goes to bring people from all over the country to talk about Krampus. And we're bringing in Krampus land celebrities from all over the world to talk with our community and to talk with people who are coming from all over the country to Bremerton.
Obviously, this has become quite the phenomenon in the area. And, I think in a lot of minds, people feel like you're probably doing this all by yourself. I'd like to know a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes. Who has helped you put this together? Do you have volunteers? Are there other Krampuses that exist in our area? What does the makeup of this organization look like?
Krampus Bremerton is a lot me. It's become an unpaid full-time job for me in the evenings. But I will say I have amazing support and inspiration and motivation and mentorship from other people. Krampus Seattle, John Hurst and Peter Palicki found me early on, taught me and mentored me how to do this, how to acquire a costume, how to perform as Krampus, made me read Krampus and the Old Dark Christmas by Al Ridenour, which is an anthropological book on the history of Krampus. And he's coming to Bremerton, by the way.
All right.
And so they taught me how to do it. They've helped me to promote it as well and promoted Bremerton and have been very generous in their engagement and support of Krampus. So, and then a lot of people have gotten into costume. And as these people invest into costume, and because these aren't cheap, and so as they're investing in their costumes, they want to get involved. And so they're bringing in volunteers and their family and their friends to support. So a couple of people stand out. Tyree Goulart is just a local person who started out as a fan, and she came to one of my meetings and said, I want to help out more, and she's been amazing at organizing. Kate Millward is another who's been really engaged locally, has helped me with a lot of the organizational aspects of things. And then a few other folks from around the Puget Sound are now jumping in and helping. But the Downtown Bremerton Association did a call for volunteers during the festival, and I had this crew of people who showed up to set up 25 black tents in December on a rainy Saturday morning, and most of them I had never met before. So it is pretty brilliant where there are so many people who just want to be involved in some way, want to make it happen. And whenever somebody reaches out to me asking if they can be involved, I'll ask what level they want to be involved, because I'll take anybody from setting up a single tent to draining their soul and helping me with promotional and advertising and organizing all of the things that I do.
Why is this more than just a festival for Bremerton? Tell me a little bit about what it means for a community like ours to host something like this, and for entertainers across the country when they see that we're putting something like this together.
There's so much opportunity in this city. I'm a former art gallery owner from Salt Lake City, and I studied entrepreneurship in grad school, and I learned a lot about the business of art. And through I'm a former Bremerton Arts Commissioner, and I was one of the founding project managers of the Bremerton Creative District. What it means for Bremerton, and I think that Krampus is a test case of the potential of creative industry and creative economy in Bremerton. So this festival, with 6,000 people this last year, I partnered with the downtown business owners, and all of them had record sales, and they set record sales year over year. It's not just beating their prior Krampusnacht festival sales, it's beating all-time record sales. One business reported an entire month's worth of sales in a couple of hours the evening of the festival. What that demonstrates to me is that creative endeavors have benefit on the community. Not only is my festival free to the public, that people can attend, and it's a fun thing for people to learn about and participate in and have a counterculture activity during the holidays, but it's good for business. It's good for Bremerton. It brings tourism. It puts heads in beds in our hotels. It gets people buying products at Ballast Bookstore, or wine from Krampus wine from Grumble and Wine, or crystals from Avebury Mysticals. So we've got different businesses who are really building up and benefiting from it. And what I want to see, Krampus is very niche. And it's my niche, it's not for everybody. What I'd love to see is more Krampus-like festivals, creative endeavors in downtown Bremerton, and sparking up around the city. So you see stuff that Charleston's doing on Callow. They're doing amazing things. And I think it's evidence that our town is hungry and ready for creative projects and creative industry. And it's good for business, it's good for Bremerton, and it will revitalize some of those parts of downtown that just have been not as awesome over the last few years.
Yeah. What's it like when you put on the mask? We talked about this a little bit off camera, but I definitely have a familiarity with playing characters. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious what your experience has been when you are in full Krampus mode. Do you have any interesting stories that you could share about reactions maybe that you've had with the public, or experiences that you've had while playing Krampus?
Being Krampus is just so much fun. As you said in the intro, like, a lot of people know this mask, but a lot of people don't know this one. And being behind that mask is a lot of fun because people engage with you in different ways than they would with me. What I enjoy the most, I think, is engaging with kids. I think that kids, the ones who are most fearful of Krampus, they learn fear from their parents. And the kids that come and approach me are excited. The second year and my first year of having this mask, a kid named Oliver came up to me, and he had this huge imagination, and his mom enabled it. He was 4 years old. And so she put him in this little Krampus costume, and he came up to me, and I got down on one knee to say hello to him, and he told his mom afterward that it was Elder Krampus accepting him into his troop. And this kid, every single year, has shown up as Krampus and walked alongside me every single year. So there are a lot of photos of Lil Krampus along with Elder Krampus. And this kid is an inspiration. His mother is as well, for enabling his imagination. And you see that, like, kids light up and get excited and overcome fear and run up. And I've had so many hugs from kids and things that has just been a lot of fun.
Some might see Krampus as just a fun character, but there's a real cultural and psychological element to this tradition. What do you think Krampus represents for folks today?
It's interesting because if you were to look in Austria, Krampus is by and large, from the folks I've talked to, just a tradition. And a lot of Austrians don't understand why it's become such a thing in the United States. And I think for Americans, it means something more. I believe that Christmas has become very commercialized. It's very bloated, it's complex. You hear people talk about having complexities of seeing family and friends and how busy the time of year is. And this is, Krampus is the antidote to all things that are Christmas. And beyond that, what I really love about the character, and I think that Americans attach to, is it's a way for us to connect with one another in a different way, with different meaning. Because we're all overcoming this darkness and all overcoming our, like I was saying earlier, our inner selves. But we all have it brings something that's in common where we can see the humanity in one another. And I will tell you, my favorite part about being Krampus is meeting people. I associate with people that I would in no way normally meet. And a few weeks ago, I'll give this example, that I went to dinner, we're sitting around a table with these friends who I consider as close as family. And I don't know who they voted for. I suspect I know, and it would be very different for me. But me as a gay man, I'm sitting across the table from a doomsday prepper, a guy who has a ton of guns in his house, a trans woman, and a gay man. And I consider them all family. And we normally wouldn't associate with one another, or find one another, and would be so opposed in today's community that pits us against one another. And we're like family. So it's this way for us to see humanity in each other and connect in a totally different way. I think it is just a cure for so many things that put us in opposition to one another.
I love that, Eric, because, when we go home at the end of the day, this is the makeup of our true families. You know, I could tell you there's so many loved and cherished ones in my family alone that have differing political views, and we still find a way to all love puppies at the end of the day. What you've created here in Bremerton exemplifies all that. When you go out to Krampusnacht, which was a huge event this year, you see not the political makeup of our culture. You see our culture. You see people representing all forms of life, showing up and having a great time. We have time for one more question, unfortunately, because we could, cover this for.
I can talk forever about it.
Tell me what you would like folks to know about Krampus America coming up. Just any information you could give the public about this event coming out, getting more information if they'd like to take part. What information can we give folks today if they want to become part of this tradition?
So Krampus America, the Krampus America Convention, is perfect for those people who are interested in getting into Krampus. It's geared toward performers and organizers. So if you want to get involved in Krampus, this convention is a really great way to do that. All of the details are at krampusamerica.com. And what you'll find at this convention, so Al Ridenour, who's the author of Krampus and the Old Dark Christmas, he'll be presenting. We have Stefan Keudel, who is a celebrity mask maker, one of the top mask makers coming from Austria.
So you can get something like this there.
He's bringing masks from Austria, and he'll be doing live carving demonstrations in the street with chainsaws, carving Krampus masks out of wood, which is going to be awesome. I'm super excited. And he's bringing some masks that will be available for sale. Family Hefner, Gerhard Trinkel is coming from Austria. He is a suit maker, a full suit maker. He's the top distributor and maker in the world. We have Foam Friction Studios coming out of Canada, who are going to be building full fur suits closer to home. Krampus Masks USA, Gavin Hughes, who is the only wood-carved mask maker in the United States, is coming from Montana. And we'll have probably a couple of masks for sale, and he's creating wait lists and making masks for people this year. We also have a huge host of other Krampus groups coming who will be speaking from around the country. So from Milwaukee, from Minnesota, from Twisted Heart Puppet Works out of San Diego is coming, and with the Wild Hunt of Vista, as well as people out of Florida and Utah and Indiana. So a huge host of people, and we'll have a Krampus market on Saturday that is open to the public, where Stefan will do his wood carving demonstration, where we'll have about 26 booths of local and some from around the country Krampus artisans. So artists and craft people who are selling Krampus-related product in the street with the black tents like we had at our Krampus festival. It's open to the public for folks to attend. And then Saturday night we'll have on May 10th, we'll have a pub crawl where we're encouraging all the attendees to get into their Krampus costumes and visit the local bars and eateries around downtown Bremerton. So that'll be a fun spectacle for folks to see.
And this is the weekend of May 25th.
May 9th and 10th.
May 9th and 10th.
Mother's Day weekend.
Mother's Day weekend, folks. Well, Eric, I can't thank you enough for this cultural phenomenon that you've brought to Bremerton, and now will be significant across the United States. It means so much for our community to have this, and for the performers that will be here, and we just can't thank you enough for everything that you've done. And I really look forward to being there and seeing this giant festival come to life. So thank you so much for coming today and sharing with everybody your story, who you are in person, and everything that you're doing for Krampus America here in Bremerton.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me.
We appreciate you. You can catch this episode and all past episodes of Afternoons with Ash Black on YouTube, as well as your local BCAT cable provider. It's Comcast Channel 13 in Kitsap County, and on Sound Channel 2 or 3, depending on where you're located. We're also so excited to announce that we are also now in print, courtesy of our friends over at the Kitsap Smokestack. That's kitsapsmokestack.com, and local news vendors up and down the Kitsap Peninsula. Go check out those vendors and go pick up some local news. Also, if you want to engage with the show, please follow us on social media. Join the conversation, and if you're a local leader, artist, or change maker, reach out. We'd love to share your story. Also, please don't forget, Krampusnacht Bremerton and the Krampus America Convention are just the beginning. You can follow Eric Morley and the Bremerton Krampus movement online to be part of this growing tradition. All right, I think that's it for this afternoon. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep celebrating the stories that make your community unique. See you next time. You can find all of our episodes on our YouTube channel and catch the live broadcasts on BCAT, as well as all the extras at Afternoons with Ash Black on Facebook.